What's been going on? What's happening? It's yours truly, Golden Dark Dame, back with another episode. So, in case you don't know, and this is your first time listening, I am self proclaimed number one hit series DC Power fan. So, I talk about things related to entertainment, popular culture, and what comes on, like programs, entertainment programs, music, whatever I feel like. So I'm back with another episode, and it's been a little while. Had to take an impromptu hiatus, kind of like my usual, honestly. But I'm back again to talk about some entertainment programs that are new and also other programs that have returned. So to start off, there's two new programs that are airing on TV. And I checked them out last week, and both of them are in the space of like dating and relationships. So before I dig in, I invite you to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share this video and this channel link. Share it among those who want to find out what there is to watch, what there is to be seen on TV. So the first new program on OWN is called The One. And again, it's reality TV, dating contest, dating competition, what have you, right? And it aired, like I said, it's Thursday, so it comes on Thursdays. And tonight, episode 2 aired. And you have at least one familiar face, possibly two. So you have a male and a female who are in a position of choosing among, a total of 4 people, who are vying for them, seeking them out. And so each man and each woman has to make the decision on who they want to choose, who could possibly be the one to, objectively be their spouse, be their mate. So one of the definitive familiar faces featured on this show is the male, which is Brent. And so Brent has been on a different dating contest reality show called Ready to Love. I don't recall which city he represented when he was on that show, but it wasn't that long ago. I really wish I could remember which city. I don't remember if it was Texas or I don't think it was DC, and it wasn't Miami for sure. So maybe it was Texas, either Texas or Atlanta. So the woman here, Ashley, she is the female selector, and she actually looks a little familiar as well, but I'm not sure if it's from being on TV before. I mean, I feel like I've seen her face on the screen before. I think she's reminding me of the woman who, I want to say, within the last 7 years or less, won the lottery. So she's looking a lot like that lady to me. I don't think that's actually her, but that's who she's reminding me of and causing me to think that, oh, she looks familiar. But like I've seen her face before. So that's who we have. And so each of them have started out with 4 individuals, again, who are seeking them out and who are, in competition to win them over for Ashley and Brent to choose one of these contestants, one of these competitors to be the one. And this episode was, well, not even this episode. From watching the first episode last week, it was difficult to follow. Like, I was hoping I would be able to, see or understand the premise, because when you see the previews, to me, it's not obviously clear that it's, whether it's an actual competition or some other type of, social experiment going on. But either way, that's what it is. Again, reality TV dating show nonetheless. And so everybody's in the same house. And so seeing this from the first episode and missing the first 5 or 6 minutes of it, it was hard for me to follow. And I even tried to, I told myself, okay, I'm going to watch it in full, despite each episode lasting 1 hour. Listen, I messed around, and when they reran it, I was in a different room. I was in a whole different space. So when I returned to the space where the TV was, and it was already on the channel, program was literally already on the screen, right? When I returned to the space, it was at the exact same point that it was when I put the channel on that station the first time. So I still, twice, I missed the same amount of time from episode 1 airing. So that being said, it made me feel like, okay, I don't understand how this is going to work, how it's supposed to work, or kind of where, I don't know, the shortfall is with the format of the show. This show is hosted by Kirk Franklin, and it includes, featuring his wife. She's literally coming on as well, sitting next to him as he's orchestrating this process, among these contestants and participants. So it just has a little, I don't know what this format is. I don't think I've seen this format before, and it's not clear to me. But the way that it's going, with this being episode 2, is again, Brendan and Ashley, they have these interactions, each among 4 different individuals, and at the end of however much time passes, because that's not even clear, that's not even evident, how much time they're spending together before it's elimination time. They eliminate somebody at the end of each episode. But first, they specifically state among the contestants who they want to stay. And so it appears they're all, living in a house, in a mansion. They're all residing in one mansion at this time while this process occurs. But I'm going to go ahead and attribute not knowing how long the process duration is, and how long they're living in this house, and again, how many one-on-one interactions they may have with each other leading up to each elimination. I'm going to attribute not knowing any of that to the fact that I missed the first 5 minutes of episode number 1. Okay, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt and assume that information was spelled out within the amount of time that I have not seen of this show, right? I'm gonna do that. So, but that's how this show works. That's the mansion, the one mansion, as you can see right there. And there's your man, Mr. Franklin. So they're about to do eliminations. And so, I don't know, it's kind of, for this episode now, episode 2, what happens on here that is perturbing to me is at the start of this episode, Kirk Franklin, because remember, they just had an elimination, so now there's 3 competitors left per man and woman, Brent and Ashley. And so Kirk Franklin sits down among everyone, he and his wife do, and he's talking to all of them who are parents. And they go around a room, and whomever is a parent identifies themselves as such, specifically stating the age of their kid, age and the gender of their offspring, right? So after that, Kirk Franklin says, well, I think this is a good time to, introduce your kids to, the person, your kid, to the person that you're pursuing here. And, he's just generally saying that they should expose their kid to this process. Now, to me, that was so cringy, because I'm presuming that this short series may only have 4 to 5 episodes. I'm giving it a stretch by even estimating 5 episodes, and that's based on how episode 2 tonight went. But it was cringy to me because I'm reading it as, okay, but this is so early on. This is only episode number 2. Now, granted, have no idea how much goes on behind the scenes. Have no idea how much interaction between and among all these people, as far as dates and things go, that may have taken place between the taping, editing, and airing of episode 1 compared to episode 2, right? But obviously, going based off of what gets aired, this is very early on in the process. So for Kirk Franklin to have brought that up, to literally have stated that as a condition in the process at this point, to me, it was like, wow. Like, it just sounded and seemed and felt problematic to me, like on a personal level, because I think that it sounds like a highly premature thing. But that was pretty much what the assignment came out to be on episode 2 tonight. So that happened among just from 2 of the female contestants with Brent, and one of the male contestants in regards to Ashley. He had a conversation with her about it beforehand, and she asked him why he wanted to introduce his child to her. His explanation was extremely basic, and that answer was, because this process is going deeper and going further. Well, that was going to happen anyway. It's just the fact that you're still a part of it, that you should be able to expound on a more personal level why you want to introduce your child to this woman. However, and despite that, Ashley's response to him was telling him that she feels like it's too early for something like that, for such an introduction to occur. And I was so glad that she clearly articulated that to one of these males who is pursuing her. I'm so glad she did that, because again, that was my overall thought process, and that's regardless of gender of the participants. Like, it's just too early. So anyhow, that's what happened with that. And as you can see here, like I said, they're doing eliminations this episode, and this is only episode 2, right? Only elimination number 2, but she's about to become like overly emotional. And I would like to understand why, because she started shedding tears when they did elimination number 1 as well. And it's like, how? Like, so, but that's what's been going on. That's how this has been going on the new program called The One. Another new program, also on the same network, is called Asking for a Friend. And it's hosted by Lisa Ray McCoy. So the way that Asking for a Friend works is, even though it's definitely, reality TV, but it's not necessarily a contest, because that strictly comes down to a matter of choosing who you think is better, like flat out. So the way that Asking for a Friend works is, there's a pair of friends and they come on and they get to go on not one but two double dates. And the idea behind this arrangement, this setup of dating, is that each friend is trying to help the other friend, like, have the option to find the best match or a better match for their friend. Like, they're doing that for their friend in this process. So they go on double dates back to back in the same day, and then after the second double date occurs, each friend chooses who they think would be better for themselves between the two people that they just concluded having a date with, having been on a date with. So, to my knowledge, tonight was also the second night of this program airing, and I think it was a little better compared to last week's episode. However, in general, this show doesn't give what needs to be given either. It's on a different level compared to the one, because these are young adults that you see on Asking for a Friend. However, I don't know, it's just kind of lackluster due to showing literally showing how the dating options look. And that's my opinion, right? Totally my opinion. Based on, who is featured on there, who got chosen to participate for these dates. So, yeah, again, the episode this week looked a little bit better than last week, but still, it's slim pickings out here still. And these shows are making that like so clear and highly evident. So that's what you get to see if you check out OWN Network. That's new programming that is featured right now. So what else do we have here? Now, programming that has returned recently it's a show. It's still, in the dating realm, but this show I really, really like this show. So it's Love Island USA, and season 5 just began. Also a week and a half ago. So I'm not up to speed as far as seeing all the episodes just yet, but I did at minimum get to see episode number 1. And so they have made a couple of changes. They do things a little bit differently this season on Love Island USA, because, well, let me just explain how it usually has worked. So the way Love Island works is a remote location as far as a house, like resort style house, resort accommodations. And there's I think it starts out with 5 5 males, 5 females. Again, we're talking about the population of young adults being featured, and this is one thing I'll give credit to for this program. I don't know what they're, how they do it, how they go about it, but I give them props because they always have very attractive individuals that they're able to like cast to be on Love Island. Like, I give them that. And there's definitely a talent behind casting panning out that way. So again, I give credit for them being able to accomplish that. This season, I don't know, it was a little iffy with that, but for the most part, and from what I've seen so far, they're still in the higher level of continuing that achievement. So anyhow, the way Love Island works is they have start with 5 females, 5 males, and they changed up the manner in which the pairing up, the coupling up process starts out. So that changed this season. And based on the manner in which that changed, I also got to see a snippet of, I believe it was episode number 4. And this is what's funny, because for episode 1, they deviated from the coupling up process to start out with, right? Due to that, it also led to another change, like secondary change, which was that there was an elimination on episode number 1. That's never happened before. Okay, now, based on me coming across a portion of episode 3 or 4, the person who got eliminated on episode number 1, why is their face showing up again on episode 3, episode 4? So that threw me to notice that. That really threw me. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I thought he just got put off. So it was like, why do I see him sitting on the couch with his arms spread out? Like, what is he doing back there? So again, this is a new change to the process on Love Island. So yeah, that's, like I said, those are some differences, some changes. And listen, honestly, there are other reality TV programs that could and should take note as far as incorporating changes on or in their process, right? Because you gotta shake things up. You gotta mix things around, stir things around to keep it worth watching. So another series that has returned recently is Ready to Love, and this season it has gone back for a third time to the state of Texas, specifically the city being Dallas. And at this point, they just aired episode 3, and I mean, they have finally I can't really say finally, but for the second time they have incorporated a change to their process. So that most recent change with the process for participants on Ready to Love is that about I'll say just 3 seasons back or 2 seasons back, and this was change number 1, they would have it where the host Tommy Miles would incorporate what he calls a wild cards, right? So it would be a total of 4 wild cards. And so due to that, it had limited the primary amount of cast members that were present per episodes 1 and 2. Definitely per episode number 1, it would only be like because Ready to Love always has 20 contestants, 10 men, 10 women. But due to this wild card factor, once they started doing that, again, about 2 seasons back, they only had 16 members that we would see on episode number 1, right? And then between episodes 2 and 4, the remaining wild card participants, so 2 more men, 2 more women, would come in and replace, obviously taking the place of whomever had been eliminated. So that would even out the cast or the participant total being back to 20 in full, right? But again, that was their way of incorporating the first change that they made to their process. So now, the most recent change to the process for Ready to Love as of this season is that Tommy is introducing the wild cards still, but he's changed up the manner in which the wild cards have been introduced. So what happened with it this season so far is that after episode number 1, the usual 2 people got eliminated, a male and a female got eliminated, and then episode number 2, he told the men, well, actually there's been 2 changes as of this season, I'm remembering now. So episode 2, change number 1 that Tommy announced when he's huddled up with all the males in the gentleman's lounge was telling them, number 1, that he was going to select the women contestants that he wanted to put them on dates with. Like specifically, Tommy made those selections, right? Change number, and that may or may not even be counted as a change, right? But it's not anything that he's ever done. I don't think he's ever done that on any previous episode. Definitive change, the other thing, which is a definitive change that he announced to them, was that he's like, oh, maybe some surprises too. So what do you think those surprises were? Wild cards, so new participants. So pretty much view it, because he was selecting who he was going to send them in on dates with, treat it like a blind date, number 1, with the additional caveat of some of these men's blind dates were with a new participant. Okay, the case ended up obviously defaulting to being the same for the women. So he only needed to make the announcement to one gender, and he made it to the men. So one of the blind dates incorporated a wild card being a new female, and the same was the case for the women, where her date was a new male. So, but there's going to be 2 more new participants as the series continues, because we're only on episode 3. So we know that's going to be the upcoming case of the format on Ready to Love. Okay, it's going to be 2 more new participants coming on. Maybe they'll come on the episode this week or not, which I presume they will. I presume they'll be brought on sooner rather than later. So yeah, but that's what's going on with the programming that is new and that has returned. And as far as relationships in real life go, among public figures, we got and it's a little bit old at this point, but we heard about Kim Zolciak and Croy Bierman divorcing, right? But then just a couple weeks ago, apparently they're no longer in that process, and they're gonna mend things. Listen, when the news came out that they were getting a divorce, what confused me was the amount of, I guess, empathy or, sorrow expressed. That's so sad. That's a choice. divorce is not an involuntary occurrence. So now hearing that they're gonna get back together, in my opinion, it's like, who cares? Personally, I didn't have any fandom for Kim from when she was on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Right before she got off the series, she was nasty. Her attitude, her persona, like, changed so much, and it was racist and insulting. If you pay attention, it really seemed like her personality flipped shortly after she married Croy. So, to have heard that they were getting divorced sounded like par for the course to me. And again, I couldn't understand why anybody, especially true or day one fans of Real Housewives of Atlanta, had any type of sorrow around that news about her marriage ending and getting flushed. So to hear that they're getting back together, personally, I could care less, because what is that to celebrate? She's like a horrible person. Who cares if she's gonna try to mend her marriage? If he's the type of person who wants to remain with an individual such as her, then that speaks volumes about Croy as well. Moving on from them, more recently, news about the divorce now pending for Tina Knowles and Richard Lawson. The majority reaction, a widespread reaction to that news has been, oh, I could have seen that coming, and in criticism of the personality of Tina Knowles, which, just making specific note, Tina Knowles is Beyonce's and Solange's mother. So anyhow, a lot of people, again, on social media have been expressing feeling like that was kind of predictable news, or just not seeming surprising. And a lot of people with that opinion based it on from the two of them being featured on an episode of Black Love, and a part of the conversation between, Q&A occurring between Tina Knowles and Richard Lawson, where, a question was posed to her, and she was, entertaining the question, and she was speaking about Richard in such a fashion that he chimed in, kind of questioning, a point that she was making, and she stood by her comment and she repeated it, to make it evident. And the look on his face, the whole scenario it wasn't a good look. It was not a good look. So that's the basis from which there are many opinions expressed that, to hear that they're getting divorced, it didn't seem like he was that happy with her. And again, judgments of Tina Knowles saying, she seems like she's the type of person, the type of woman who would treat him like X, Y, and Z and A, B, and C. So I feel like that's a stretch to, make that type of judgment about, an individual just based on hearing that they're about to part ways from their spouse without, seeing anything in action aside from a conversation, a piece of a conversation on a program. I kind of almost want to say, I think it's unfair for people to make such a judgment about Tina Knowles. And listen, I'll go further to even explain that I feel like that, just as I'm speaking on them and her in this moment. I may feel differently tomorrow, but I think it's kind of unfair to judge her based on hearing that they're getting a divorce. And I think it's reported that she's the one who filed, but aside from that, that's a real life relationship that's, that is, fallen and broken. And again, I don't really get when people say, oh, that's horrible, or they should work it out, or this, that, and the third. Because again, divorce is a choice. Just like the primary, the start of it is a choice, so is the end of it. Deciding to get married is a choice. It's a voluntary choice. It's not an involuntary action. The same is the case as far as divorce proceedings go. Okay, one person can want to do it, and but there's got to be more than just energy on the side of one individual for a divorce to, that action to come into existence. So those are choices. Those are not things that are beyond any human being's control. So I'm not on the empathy train for anybody getting divorced. Like, even when the news about Blair Underwood getting divorced came out, there was excitement and jokes expressed in the same vein, just based on it being Blair Underwood, or now he's going to be on the market, and the history behind Blair Underwood, just being to a degree a sex symbol, and more generally, a highly attractive entertainer. But again, this is a choice. Divorce is a choice. It's not something that occurs by happenstance. It's not something that, oh, somebody told me how to get divorced from my husband. No, that's not how it works. So it happens more often than it gets reported. And I don't feel like it should be treated like, on the same degree or level, like, oh, somebody died, or, like a medical, like a health condition that got diagnosed out of nowhere. Like, I feel like that's how a lot of people seem to respond to that word about when it comes to divorce. And one more real life relationship, two more we got is Tia Mowry and Corey Hardrick. Just a couple weeks ago, word came out that their divorce is now finalized. It's final, and that included information that she's not going to have to, pay him any type of, I guess like alimony or restitution or nothing along those lines that he was seeking or that he was trying to get. She doesn't have to give him anything. She doesn't have to pay him anything. And in my opinion, that seems like it's a fair decision because, she's a childhood star. So her career was definitely in whatever lane of progression that it was going to be in before she and Corey got married. And to my knowledge, or to my awareness, he does have active roles to where he is acting, and so he's going to get paid just by continuing being able to continue to do his job as an actor. So he'll be all right. He will be all right. So yeah, so that's the summary for now for this episode. And one more thing about an upcoming program returning. We got the airing date for the upcoming next installment, the next spinoff of the Power series, Power Universe. And that's next one is going to be for Power Book. Hope I'm counting the books right now. Power Book 3, Force. So that's the series that highlights the character of Tommy Egan. And so the upcoming air date for season 2 of Force is going to be in September. So that's definitely something to look forward to for my fellow Power Universe fans. Power never ends. So on that note, again, make sure that you like this video, share this video, subscribe to this channel. This has been yours truly, Golden Dark Dame, and also follow my IG profile, Golden Dark Dame. That's GOLD, the letter N, DARK, Dame, Dame, Golden Dark Dame on Instagram. So make sure you check me out next time.